Thank you, Chair. Ms. Mengo, yesterday you testified about all the messages that came through on the 29th of June 2021. And I asked you if you can recall what happened at court that day, why the respondent asked you or told you that your mood was pensive.
Izolo ke usinike ubungqina ngokuphathelene ke nencoko yangomhla wama-29 kwinyanga kaJune ku-2021 unyaka apho ke bendiye ndakubuza into kokuba uphendule ngelithini kwintetha ibisithi indlela okanye imo ubukuyo ngalamhla yayithanda ukuba nokwahluka bungathi ngumuntu inzelelo oluthile.
Ewe ndayikhumbula banditheni izolo.
Yes, I recall what I said yesterday.
And you testified that you are blank now, you can't remember.
Wasinika kubungqina obuthi kuvele kwaba blank apha entloko awukwazi ukukhumbula.
Ewe benditshilo.
Yes, I said so.
Have you since remembered what happened that day that made your mood so pensive?
Ukwazile ke ukukhumbula ke ukuba yintoni le yathi yenzeka ngalamini eyavele yatshintsha imeko yakho?
Ewe ndikwazile.
Yes, I was able.
Please inform us what happened that day. It's now, yesterday she testified that respondent started the conversation on the 29th of June. Let me just get to that part. On page 1233.
That is where she was asked by the JP. Your mood was so pensive. I was afraid.
That's correct.
So that's what you're trying to
Yes.
clarify.
Yesterday she informed us that she couldn't remember because she's blank now. I'm just asking if she can recall what happened, and she says she is able to recall now.
Just come again. I don't.
Yesterday when we dealt with this message of the respondent asking her your mood was so, or telling her your mood was so pensive, I was afraid of you. Please keep the song in your heart that you always bear. When I dealt with that message yesterday, I asked her what happened at court that day that made the respondent respond in this way. Was there an incident? And she said that she could not recall, she's blank now.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm asking her if she has been able, over the break that we had now overnight, if she is able to recall what happened. And she's now saying she can recall, and I'm just asking her to inform us what happened that day.
Mm.
Yes, you may proceed.
Ungaqhuba ke usiphe ke impendulo njengoba uthe uyakhumbula uye wakhumbula ukuba kwakwenzeke ntoni ngale mini.
Pha eMakhanda High Court okanye Grahamstown High Court.
In Makhanda High Court or Grahamstown High Court in particular?
Kukho i-passage xa uphuma apha ngakwi-office okanye ngakwi-chamber ka-Judge President.
There is a passage that's very much close, especially when you come out of the JP's office.
Ngelo xesha sikwi-floor enye, i-floor A1 leya.
And at the time, we were on the same floor.
Eyam i-office ngela xesha yayisekugqibeleni kwe-passage okanye ekoneni ye-passage xa ujika usiya kwi-judge's tea room.
And my office at the time was situated at the corner of this passage. Just when you turn from there, you will be proceeding to the judge's tea room.
Yena ke njengoba mna bendingekho seofisini yam bendisuka kwenye icala lepassage.
As I was not in my office, I was coming from the other side of the passage or the opposite side of the passage.
Ndimbone ke uba angabe undibonile kuba uphumile apha kuye apha emnyango.
He came out.
Sorry, before you go on, if you say he, you must refer to who that person is. Don't say he because it can be anyone.
Uba uzawuthetha ngokuba ndimbonile ebe kuzafuneka ungqale usixelele bangubani lowo.
Judge President uphumile apha kuye kwi-chambers emnyango.
Judge President then came out of his chambers from the door.
Besendikufutshane ke ngoku apha ngaseliftini kunelifti phaya closer to i-chambers zakhe.
Busoseliftini wena.
Besendikufutshane ngaseliftini.
I was already close to the lift. There is a lift that is close to his chambers.
Into endandiyinxibile ngelo xesha yayingengo black and white.
My attire at the time that I was wearing, it was not black and white.
Uqale wabuza ke uba lilaphi letafile okanye yifayidukhwe okanye yikhetni yantoni le ndiyinxibileyo. Zontathu ke ezo zinto uzimentionile.
He first asked, is this a tablecloth or a dishcloth or a curtain? Referring to what I was wearing. He mentioned all three.
Ebencumile ngalo lonke lo xesha ke bethetha lonto.
As he was saying this, he was smiling.
Uphumile kapha kuye apha emnyango wahamba phambi kwami yena walinganisa indlela endihamba ngayo.
He came out of his door and imitated my walk, walking in front of me.
Indlela yakhe yohamba ke ngoku uye towards the office endandihlala kuyo mna ngelo xesha.
As he walked, he proceeded towards the office I used to occupy at the time.
Natso ke into eyayindidika ngalo mini.
That is what annoyed me on the day in question.
Ndicela ukwangeza phaya emsebenzini ke andikaze ndinxibe i-flat shoes okanye izihlangu eziphantsi.
If I may add, at work I had never worn flat shoes.
Ngeli xesha ndilinganisayo ucondobile naye.
As he was imitating my walk, ukuthini ukucondoba?
Uhamba ngenzwane.
Okay. As he was imitating my walk, he was walking using his toes.
Is that all that happened that day at court?
Kuphela kwento eyenzekayo ngalamini phaya enkundleni.
Ewe yiyo.
Yes, it is.
Thank you. Then we can turn to page 1237 of volume 3. After 29 June, there only came messages through on the 4th of July again, 2021. Is that correct?
Emveni komhla we-29 kuJuni kwaye kwaphinda ke kwakhona umyalezo ngomhla we-4 kuJuly ku-2021 kunjalo?
Ewe kunjalo.
Yes, that's correct.
And the first message that came through on your phone from the respondent was at 4:03 in the morning. Is that correct?
Umyalezo wokuqala oye wafika kuwe okanye efonini yakho usuka kuye uJP ungene ngemizuzu emithathu emveni kwensimbi yesine ekseni. Kunjalo?
Ewe ndiyabona.
Yes, I see.
And it looks like he was again commenting on a status that you uploaded.
Kwakhona apha kuyabonakala into obuphefumla kwi-statement ubukhe wena wasixhoma okanye kwi-status ubukhe wena wasixhoma.
Ewe kunjalo.
Yes, that's correct.
And Ms. Interpreter, can we first get the translation of the words in the top part that is accompanying the status of the complainant?
On page 1237, the message timed 0403, on the status, the message angazi ngoneni, which is in isiZulu. I do not know what wrong I had done. Then the second message, which is highlighted, sisentweni in isiXhosa. We are in something.
Can you just inform the members of the panel what this status was about?
Ungakusichazele ukuba ingaba esi status osixhomile sasingantoni?
Ewe ndingachaza.
Yes, I can explain. Qhuba.
Esa status kwakukho icase ngela xesha eyayitrenda yomntu ongumfana obulele igirlfriend yakhe.
At the time of this status, there was a case that was trending then
Yivideo
on a young man that was alleged to have killed his girlfriend.
yivideo ke le yomntana owayethetha nge-GBV.
And this was a video clip of a child that was talking about GBV.
Kuloo nto wayeyithetha waba namazwi awathethayo athi angazi ngoneni.
In what this child was saying, they were words that were mentioned of angazi ngoneni, I do not know what wrong I had done. That's the translation.
Yiyo ke laa nto caption yami ikwi-inverted commas.
That is why my caption then is in inverted commas, showing that it's a quoted statement.
And then you replied to the respondent's response where he said, we are in something. You replied to him only at 8:04 in the morning. And can we get the translation first, please, Ms. Interpreter?
At 0804, subconsciously iyalwenza uxinzelelo. The translation then would be, subconsciously, it does cause stress. With the 3 emojis.
And you also said good morning to the respondent. Is that correct?
Emveni koba ugqibile ukuphendula phaya wabhala ke nabanodolazana bajongisa amehlo phezulu wabulisa wathi mall.
Kunjalo.
That is correct.
Then the respondent replied to you to say at 8:04, it does, hey, as well as 8:05, civil war might loom.
Waphendula ke naye kwangemizuzu nje emine emveni kwensimbi yesibhozo engqinelana nawe into yoba iyalwenza. Watsho ke into yokokuba kungahle kube khona umlo.
Ewe, waphendula kanjalo.
Yes, he responded in that manner.
And then you replied at 8:05 to say, because of one arrogant man. Who are you referring to here?
Waphendula ke wena wathi kuyawube kungenxa yomntu omnye nje oyindoda ovele wagwenxa. Ubuthetha ngabani apha?
Ewe, ndaphendula kanjalo. Ndandithetha apha ngo-former President of South Africa.
Yes, I responded in that fashion. And here in this response, I was referring or I was talking about the former president of South Africa,
Which one?
Ompi.
Utata uGezihlekisa Zuma.
That is Dada Gezihlekisa Zuma.
And then the respondent replied, also at 8:05, not just him, and then there's a causa word that we need the translation to, please.
Waphendula ke yena ngo-5 minutes emveni kwensimbi yesibhozo. The line says, not just him, lo lwahlanga. And then translation, not just him, as well as that ethnic group.
And he followed that one up with the emoji of the face holding his hands across his cheeks with the mouth wide open, his eyes wide open, and the top of his head is blue.
Walandelisa ke yena kwakhona emveni kwalampendulo yakhe galona dolazana oxhase izidlele zakhe macala omabini evule amehlo amakhulu nomlomo ke lo kuyabonaka bukhamisile.
Ewe, kunjalo.
Yes, that's correct.
Please turn to page 1238 because that last message is also on top of the next page. Can we get a translation of your reply at 8:06? Thank you. Thank you. Can we get a translation of the words in the first message on page 1238, please?
Page 1238, the green box, response at 8:06. Hugh, ewe. Hugh is once again an exclamation. Ewe, yes, their own country.
And he then replied to you to ask, what do you mean by country in inverted commas? And you replied to that one of him to say KZN is a country in South Africa.
Phendulile ke yena kwimpendulo yakho ekubuza into obuthetha ukuthini xa usithi ilizwe labo. Waphendula ke wena usithi iKZN kwayona nje lelinye nje ilizwe apha phakathi eMzantsi Afrika.
Ewe, ndaphendula kanjalo.
Yes, I responded in that manner.
Please just explain to us what was this conversation about, the circumstances and the conversation.
Khawusicacisele ke ukuba ingaba lencoko yayingantoni phansi kwemeko eluhlobo lunjani?
Le ncoko ibinga la video mna bendi uploade ku WhatsApp.
The conversation was in relation to the video that I had uploaded on my WhatsApp.
Iqale khona apho ndayibona ke ngokuba iza kwiintshukumo ezazikhona ngelo xesha ngokubanjwa kuka ex-president uJacob Zuma.
It started there, and I had then noticed that now the conversation, it's moving towards the fact that the former president was being arrested at the time. And there was something going on around that issue of the former president's arrest at the time.
What was going on?
I don't know. Do we want to know that?
I will leave it at that.
I'm just wondering if you feel it's of sufficient relevance. Maybe you could say, but I think we're now deviating from. We're now getting to investigate something else instead of this. Can I just say though that so this conversation was not related to issues in front of us. It was about ordinary things happening in the country at the time, right?
Ndingatsho ndithi kuwe le ncoko yayingenanto kwenza nale nyewe ephambi kwethu ngoku, kodwa yayinento kwenza nento eyayisenzeka ngela xesha apha ke eMzantsi.
Ewe kunjalo.
Yes, that's correct, Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you for that, Chair. Then came messages through at 8:10. There came a photo through from the respondent to you. Please explain to us that photo.
Kwangena ke kwakhona imiyalezo phaya phezulu ngokufutshane, kwangena ke ngoku ifoto eli lithunyelwa kuwe, lithunyelwa nguJP. Khawusicacisele ke ngefoto eli.
Ewe wayithumela.
Yes, he sent the picture.
Ifoto njengokuba sibona yintombazanana enganxibanga ngokupheleleyo.
As we can see in relation to the picture, it's a young girl that is not fully dressed,
Exwaye igaba
who is carrying, Chair, if I may get help, I don't want to pronounce this HOE wrong because I only know it in isiXhosa.
Oh,
Is it a hoe? Okay. Can I say a hand hoe? A hoe, okay. It's a young girl who is halfly dressed, who is carrying a hoe.
can we please get the translation of the complainant's response at 8:10 in reply to the message, the picture?
On page 1238, response at 8:10, andikwazi usebenzisa igaba. I am not able to use the hoe.
At the time you received this picture, what did you think of this picture?
Ngexesha wawuyifumana ke lo mfanekiso uthunyelelwe, waye wacinga ntoni wena?
khandicinge nto ngayo.
I did not think of anything about it.
Thank you. If we can turn to page 1239. You followed that message of yours up that you cannot use, you don't know how to use the hoe. You followed it up with a monkey closing its eyes with his hands. And then the respondent replied to you at 8:11, why not? And can we get the translation of that next word, please?
The translation on 0811, why not ulilau? The word ulilau is, are you colored?
And you replied at 8:12 with 4 laughing emojis. And can we get the translation of those words also, please?
Same page, the reply on 8:12 time. Yandi posale. This one I missed. Or this one missed me.
What did you mean by that?
Uthetha ukuthini ke ngale impendulo?
Bendithetha ukuthi andikwazi ukulisebenzisa.
I meant I'm not able to use a whole.
Thank you. And can we get the translation of the respondent's response at 8:13?
8:13 translation, the word is suga. Direct translation would be move.
And you replied to say boarding school took over with a emoji with the eyes closed and the tongue sticking out.
Waphendula ke wena ngelithi boarding school yaye yangenelela. Wafaka ke la nodolazana ucimele amehlo akhe omabini nolwimi oluphandle.
Konjalo.
That is correct.
Just wondering, this sugar move, in ordinary language, when we talk, wouldn't it mean something like get lost?
It's in the same line.
Yes.
Thank you, Chair. And after you said that boarding school took over, the respondent replied, firstly, 8:13 to say, I see.
Wabuya yena nempendulo esithi ndiyabona.
Konjalo.
Yes, that's correct.
And then at 8:14, he referred you back to the picture that he sent you with a message attached to it. Can we get the translation of that message, please?
The message at 8:14, kodwa unje. It's a question, but are you like this?
And what did you reply to?
Uphendule wathini wena kulento yokubuza ba kodwa unje ngoba uyakubuza.
Ndiphendule ndathi I doubt.
I replied by I doubt.
And can we get the next translation of the next message at 8:15 from the complainant?
15 minutes past 8 on page 1239. The first word is inoba. Maybe your imagination takes you to the peak of Mount Everest. So inoba is maybe.
Why did you reply in this way?
Wakutheni uzuphendule ngolu hlobo wagqibezela ngonkawana luvala amehlo?
Ndabona uba ngoku njengoba laa picture bendingayiqondi uba ithene ithumela kum ziyatshintsha izinto ngoku le ncoko iba sexual.
I now realized the reason as to why he sent the previous picture, and I noticed that now the conversation is now changing and it's becoming sexual.
And then if we turn to page 1240, the respondent replied to your message of his imagination with the abbreviation for laugh out loud.
Waphendula ke yena ngamafutshane ebonakalisa into yokuba uyahleka ngo-LOL ngo-8:15 kwimpendulo yakho.
Kunjalo.
Yes, that's correct.
And can we get the translation of the next message at 8 from the respondent?
At 8 on page 1240, yithi sibone, let us see.
And you replied to him at 8 with the word hi, and we already know that that means no.
No. Wabe sewuphendula ke wena ngohayi, siyamazi ke uhayi uthetha ukuthi no.
Ndaphendula ngohayi.
Yes, I responded by saying no.
After you said no, did the respondent stop replying to you?
Emveni kokuba uye wathi hayi, uye wayeka yena?
Khangayeki.
No, he did not stop.
2 minutes later, at 8 that morning, he sent you a message. You have what it takes.
Waphinda ngo-18 wemizuzu emveni kwensimbi yesibhozo wathumela umyalezo esithi unganako ukuba nako oku. You have what it takes ngesilungu.
Wathumela umyalezo otshoyo.
Yes, he sent that message.
And I see you didn't reply to that message. How did you feel at that stage?
Ndiyabona ke uba ukhange uyiphendule le into okanye lo myalezo. Ikwenze waziva njani ngela xesha le ntetha?
Ibindonyanyisa.
It had disgust, or it was disgusting for me.
And after you did not reply to him, more than an hour later at 9:39, the respondent sent you a message in reply to your no message. He sent you the monkey face closing his eyes, as well as the face, which I call the thinking face, where he put his hand underneath his mouth with the forefinger and the thumb out.
Wadlula ke noko into engangeyure ixesha lilade lafika ku-9:39. Wabuya yena secaphula la hayi wakho. Wafaka unkawana lovala ubuso bakhe ngezandla zakhe, nalano dolazana ubekeke lo mnwe wakhe wokukhomba nobhontsi lo apha esilevini ngezantsi kwemilebe.
Wathumela ezo emoji.
Yes, he sent those emojis.
And I see again you did not reply to him. And then he continued messaging you, and he sent you a message at 10:04. It looks like an image or a video, because I see when you reply to it, it shows that it is a video. Can you recall what that video was about? At 1241.
Ngemizuzu emine emveni kwentsimbi yeshumi ndiyabona apha kuphepha 1241. Khona into abayekuthumelele yona apha ivideo. Usakhumbula uba yayingantoni?
Hayi, andiyikhumbuli.
No, I don't recall.
And you only replied more than 4 hours later. At 14:42, you replied to that video with 6 laughing emoji faces.
Uzoyiphendula emveni kweyure ezine. Le nto yale video ngaba nodolazana bahlekayo bagigithekayo.
Kunjalo.
Yes, that's correct.
And he replied to you at 3:04 that afternoon with the monkey face closing his eyes and the laughing emoji.
Naye ke waphendula ngemizuzu emine emveni kwentsimbi yesithathu emva kwemini ngalankawana ugqume ubuso nonodolazana okikithekayo.
Ewe kunjalo.
Yes, that's correct.
And that was the end of the conversations on that day.
Kwabe kuphela kwencoko ke ngale mini.
Kunjalo.
Yes, that's correct.
Then 3 days later, on 7 July 2021, again the respondent initiated the conversation with you, is that correct?
Waphinda ke ngomhla wesixhenxe kuJuly ku2021 yanguye oqala incoko. Kunjalo?
Ewe kunjalo.
That is correct.
And he said, please share, and the next one was helicopter, and then the word that we need the translation, please.
Translation on 1846, helicopter and doors. Doors is thing. Helicopter thing.
Do you recall what this is about?
Usakhumbula uba le into yayingantoni yona? Le ncoko?
Ewe ndiyakhumbula.
Yes, I recall.
Yes, what is about?
Yayingantoni?
Estatusini sam ndandi-uploade ihelicopter yamajoni.
On my status, I had uploaded the Army's helicopter.
Kulela xesha lamajoni ayezawudeploywa for COVID.
That is during the time where soldiers were going to be deployed for COVID.
Ebecela yona ke la video ibisestatusini sam.
So he had requested the video that was on my status.
Thank you. And if you turn to page 1242, I see that you did share the video with him, and you also greeted him to say evening, and that was at 1846.
Ndiyabona ke apha kuphepha 1242 ude ngokwenene wamnika ke video lebeyicelile wade wabulisa ke wena kungokuhlwa wathi molo kodwa ke ngesilungu.
Ewe kunjalo.
Yes, that's correct.
And he greeted you back and thanked you for the message, and you said, pleasure, Daddy.
Wabulisa ke naye wabulela wathi awugqiba wena wathi wamkelekile tata.
Just explain to us, why did you refer to him as Daddy? Why did you call him like that?
Khawusicacisele kuba kutheni lento uye wathi xa ubhekisa kuye uthi tata.
Ndiphendule kanjalo ngoba ungutata and iyindlela endithetha ngayo nakwabanye ndithi tata okanye nakwezinye ijaji ndithi mami njengokuba nabo bendithatha njengomntana wabo intombazana.
I responded in this manner because he is indeed a father, and I refer to him as father, and I do the same to other male judges. I refer to them as daddy as well. The female ones, I will call them mommy, as they also understand that I am their little girl.
Thank you. And then there was a few emojis forwarded to you by the respondent. And then if you turn to page 1243, at 1851, there's a message from the respondent that we need the translation for, please.
On page 1243, the translation for a message on 1851, Biza kamnandi. You referred to me nicely.
And then you replied to that comment of his at 1852 with a laughing emoji and the emoji giving a hug. Is that correct?
Waphendula ke wena ngalo nodolazana uhlekayo nalo nodolazana wangayo ngo1852 kunja?
Ewe kunjalo.
That is correct, yes.
Then you received a an emoji from the respondent at 1852 depicting a heart with a dot underneath the heart. Is that correct?
Waze ke kwenzeka ngo-1852 wafumana le ntliziyo inechaphaza ngezantsi isuka kuye yena uJP. Kunjalo?
Ewe kunjalo.
Yes, that's correct.
And you did not reply immediately, and then the respondent sent you a message at 7 o'clock that evening. Reciprocate, please.
Waphinda wabuyela kuwe yena ngentsimbi yesixhenxe esithi phindisa ndicela uphindise.
Ewe kunjalo.
Yes, that's correct.
There was no reply from you, and then 1 minute past 7, you received another heart emoji from the respondent, as well as a message that was deleted.
Awuyiphendulanga ke nale yale ntliziyo iye yathunyelwa nalo myalezo oye wacinywa awukaphenduli.
Ewe kunjalo.
Yes, that's correct.
Can you recall what that message was about that was deleted, or are you not able to recall?
Lo myalezo lo waye wacinywa usawukhumbula uba wawungantoni?
Andimkhumbuli.
No, I don't recall.
Can we please get the translation of the messages, both of them, at 1902 from the complainant?
Responses on page 1243 at 1902, the first one, unjalo ke. You are like this. Singavani nje yilento. The reason why we don't get along, it's because of this.
Why did you send these messages?
Kwakutheni uzuthumele le myalezo ngohlobo?
Ndandidikwe kuba engandiva xa ndisithi hayi.
I was very much annoyed of the fact that he does not hear me or understand me when I say no.
Aqhubeka andithumela ii-messages endingaziphenduliyo.
But he will continue sending me messages that I do not respond to.
Did he stop responding to you
Uyekile ukuphendula
after you told him that is why we don't get along?
emveni koba uye wathi kuye yilento singavani ke li. Uyekile ukuphendula emveni kwalo myalezo.
Akayekanga.
He did not stop.
Immediately after you told him the reason why we don't get along is because of this, he sent you another heart emoji at 2 minutes past 7 that evening. Is that correct?
Emveni koba somxelele ukuba singavani nje yilento, uphindile kwayena wakuthumelela enye inhliziyo kwakhona. Kunjalo?
Ewe kunjalo.
Yes, that's correct.
Please turn to page 1244. The respondent, after he sent you that heart emoji, he also replied to your message where you said the reason why we don't get along is because of this. Can we get the translation of that, please?
On page 1244, response 1902, from the message of, this is the reason why we don't get along, it's this. Ndenzeni, what did I do?
And what did you reply to that at 7:02, the translation, please?
Translation on 1902 reply. Cimelani ndingekafundi. Why delete before I read?
And after you said, why delete before I read, there's 4 messages that came through from the respondent, and 3 of those were deleted. Isn't that correct?
Emveni koba umbuzile into yoba ucimelani ndingekafundi khona imiyalezo ayibhalileyo wayicima mithathu ecinyiweyo nomnye ongacinywanga kunjalo.
Ewe, kubonakala njalo.
Yes, it seems so.
You responded to that 4 messages to say, I know that kills. Does that make you recall what the messages was about that was deleted, or are you not able to recall?
Impendulo yakho ke kulento yale miyalezo eyacinywa uthi apha ndiyayazi ba iyabulala. Usakhumbula ba yintoni le yayibhaliwe kwezi zicinyiweyo?
Andikhumbula.
No, I can't recall.
Then he asked you, the respondent asked you at 7:04 that evening, what? In response to your message, I know that kills. And then you replied to a video at 7:05. And can we get the translation of that, please?
On page 1244, the video response, Ndinosizi lwakho. I feel sorry for you, with the 2 laughing emojis and 1 monkey that's covering his face.
Why did you say, I feel sorry for you?
Bekutheni uze uthi unosizi lwakhe?
Bendiphendula kula video andikhumbula uba ibiyentoni.
I was responding on the video. I cannot recall what it was about.
Thank you. If we turn to page 1245, after that response of yours, I feel sorry for you, there's another message that we need the translation to, please.
On page 1245, response on 1905, ungandibuzi. Don't ask me.
And then the respondent replied to your don't ask me with Python with a question mark at 7:05 that evening.
Wabuya yena sele ekubuza apha ngomzuzu emihlanu emveni kwensimbi yesixhenxe esithi Python wafaka uphawu lombuzo.
Ewe kunjalo.
Yes, that's correct.
What did you understand by that message?
Uqonde ntoni wena ngalo myalezo?
Ndiqonde uba uthetha nge-private party yakhe.
My understanding was that he is now talking about his private part.
Then he responded to your message that you feel sorry for him with emojis, and then you forwarded a video again to him at 7:16 that evening. Can you recall what that video was about?
Then ngoba sibona ke pha kula myalezo wakho ubuthetha uba ndinosizi lwakho kukho abanodolazana abahlekayo nalo ngathi uthwele isithaba wathumela ke wena ivideo emveni koko usayikhumbula uba le video yayingantoni?
Andisayikhumbula. Andisayikhumbula.
No, I don't recall.
Can we get the response from the JP to the video, the translation, please, at 7:17?
17 minutes past 7, response on page 1245, then, ngoko.
And you replied to that, yes, but we don't know what that conversation was about. And then the respondent replied to you, situation now, please.
Waphendula ke wena wangu ewe qhaga sisayazi ba ibingantoni incoko le wabuya ke ngokuyena sesithi imeko ngawo lo mzuzu.
Ewe waphendula njalo.
Yes, he responded in that fashion.
What was he referring to?
Ebethetha ngantoni?
Njengokuba sibona pha ku ixesha 1917 bethetha ngala video mna bendimforwardele yona.
As we can see on page 1245 on the video that is on 1917, he was talking about that video that I had sent to him.
All right, so that also doesn't have anything to do with what we are dealing with here now. Is that correct?
Nayo le ayinanto kwenza nento ba lento esingayo ngoku. Kunjani? No.
Thank you. Then I will leave the next two messages on 1246 because it's a few replies to that. Can we just get the translation of the message from the complainant at 1951 on page 1246?
Page 1246, a reply at 1951 time. When you run out of butongo, please undibhalele about GBV, pretty please. When you run out of sleep, please write about GBV for me, pretty please.
Yes.
Chair, can I go back to the previous answer? I hate doing this. The witness has said she doesn't remember what the video was about. And the evidence leader says, but this video had nothing to do with what we are about in these proceedings. And she says, yes. I think if the witness does not remember, she doesn't remember. I think it's an answer. It's a question suggesting an answer. She has already said she doesn't remember what it's about.
Advocate Skippers.
I was merely trying to move the conversation along, but I will think of my wording next time. Why did you ask him to write you something about GBV?
Kwakutheni uzumcele into yokuba akubhalele mayelana ke ne-GBV?
Yayikukruquka koba ndibuzwe into enye oko andithumelele ezantliziyo athi mandiphindise andithumelele ne picture ye penis.
It was the annoyance of being asked the same thing over and over, be sent hearts and be expected to respond, sending me a picture of the penis. It was just very much annoying.
I don't think we understand your question or your answer. Why did you ask him to write you about GBV?
Andiqondi uba uyawuva umbuzo wami okanye uyawuqonda. Ufuna ukwazi uba kwakutheni uzucele yena uba makakubhalele nge-GBV.
May I interrupt there because excuse me. When I was busy noting the translation about when you run out of whatever,
Sleep.
that was when Mr. Sikakane raised his objection. So I was not able to take down in full your translation. Can you repeat it, please?
No problem, Chair. On page 1246, translation for 1951 message. When you run out of sleep, please write about GBV for me, pretty please.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Why did you ask the respondent to write to you about GBV?
Kwakutheni uzucele yena uJP loba akubhalele ke ngalento yokuhlukunyezwa ngokwesini? Kwakutheni uzucele?
Ndandifuna ukumbonisa ukuba lento okanye ezi messages okanye ndimenze aware, I think that's the right way to put it. Ndimenze aware uba ezi messages andithumelela zona andizithandi.
I wanted to make him aware of the fact that these messages that he is sending me, I do not like them.
Ndikwafuna nokuva uluvo lwakhe ukuxhaphazeka kwabantu abangomama nabantwana.
I also wanted to get his opinion on the issue of gender-based violence, in particular, the abuse of women and children.
And then he replied to you, I'm totally opposed to GBV, and you replied to him with the emoji with the one teardrop. Is that correct?
Waphendula ke yena esithi naye uchasene nendaba ye-GBV. Waphendula ke wena ngalonodolazana uphuma inyembezi enye. Kunjani?
Ewe, ndaphendula kanjalo.
Yes, I responded in that manner.
And he asked you and you at 1956, and can we get the translation of the next message from the respondent below and you?
The translation for 1956 on page 1246, uthi makuliwe, it's a question. Are you saying there must be a fight?
Did you understand this remark of his?
Uyiqondile lendlela yena aye waphefumula ngayo xa ebekubuzile nawe uba wena walandelisa ngombuzo kwakhona esithi uthi makuliwe, uyiqondile lendlela akubhalele ngayo?
Khange ndiyiqonde.
I did not understand.
Please turn to page 1247. Then at 1957, on that evening, he also forwarded a video to you, which you replied to. And can we get the translation of the reply from the complainant?
On page 1247, beneath the video, the response is at 1958, green box. Hai makungaliwa. No, there must be no fighting. I understood you. It's a very painful subject when I read other judgments. Zuke undincede, please. Just intro. Please do assist me. Just intro.
Can you recall what that video was about?
Usayikhumbula ke yona le ivideo uba yayingantoni?
Yayingumuntu owayethetha ngokuhlukunyezwa kwabantu abangomama.
It was someone who was sharing about the abuse of women.
Thank you. And then you replied to him to say that he must write you an intro, please. And then he asked you at 1958, can we get the translation of the first word, please?
On page 1247, translation at 1958 message, uyenza for what? You are doing it for what?
you then replied to the video with 4 laughing emojis at 1958. Please turn to page 1248. You replied then to his message where he asked you, you are doing it for what? You replied to him, and can we get the translation of the first word?
The page is 1248, and the response on 1959 green box. The ENG in capital letters is an abbreviation for English.
For English. So it's not a Xhosa word.
No, thank you.
Thank you. So you replied to him that it is English and assignment.
Waphendula ke wena emveni kubekubuzile uba uyenzela for ntoni, wathi wena yi-assignment yesingesi.
ewe ndaphendula kanjalo.
Yes, I responded in that manner.
And he asked you about the title of the assignment, and then you replied at 8 o'clock that evening, 4 minutes past 8, and you sent him a photo of a textbook page. Is that correct?
Wakubuza ke ngesihloko sayo le assignment ubuza ube uyayenza, wathumela ke wena ifoto eli silibonayo.
ewe kunjalo.
That is correct, yes.
What is this textbook about, this page?
Le ndawo le yeli foto ingantoni yona le.
Kwakufuneka senze i-research nge-GBV.
We had to do a research on GBV.
So is this your assignment?
Iyo lento yakho yomsebenzi wesikolo le assignment.
ewe yiyo.
Yes, that is.
Thank you. Please turn to page 1249. Then in response to your picture of the assignment and you requesting him to write you an introduction for GBV, he forwarded to you a picture at 15 minutes past 9 that evening. Is that correct?
Ngomkhono emveni kwensimbi yesithoba ngokuhlwa kwimpendulo ke emveni kwesicelo sakho sokucela ukuncediswa ngento yesikolo bufamba uyayenza, uthumela lo mfanekiso. Kunjalo?
ewe wathumela wona.
Yes, he sent this message.
Please describe that photo.
Usichazele ke ngeli foto liphambi kwethu.
I must say, though, that we can see it
Thank you.
ourselves.
How did that picture that you received of this lady sitting there make you feel?
Ikwenze waziva njani ke le yalo mfanekiso walo sisi uhleli apha?
Can I get a moment, Chair, please?
Chair, I see she's a little bit emotional. Are you able to continue? Do you want us to have a short break? I see it's almost tea time. Do you want us to, can we continue? Or would you like a minute to compose yourself?
She says if we can just adjourn briefly, please.
It will be a tea break and a break for everything else.
Yes.
And we will come back at 5 to 11.
Thank you, Chair.
you are still under oath.
Usephansi kwesifungo ke sokuba uzawuthetha inyaniso.
Enkosi Chair, ndiyaqonda, and thank you very much for the indulgence before we took a break.
Thank you, Chair.
You are welcome. Yes, I think it would only be fair if when you asked for some time to breathe, when you find it difficult, you tell us and we do our best we should do our best to accommodate you. But we will need to do that because we appreciate that there's some pressure when a matter of this nature is heard in public. And that said, I hardly have to mention though that while we are going to do everything possible to accommodate you and also possibly only the respondent as well, I hardly need to mention to the parties that I had made a ruling that some parts of these proceedings be heard in camera. But it was as a result of the demand and pressure by both parties that the ruling had to be re-looked at. And I would therefore expect the parties to understand and try to live with the interruptions that we may have from time to time as a result of the pressures of this case, possibly being exerted to some extent by the fact that we are all aware that the eyes of the public are on us, on every sentence, on every word that we utter in these proceedings. And I sincerely hope that the parties will cooperate with each other to accommodate each other in this difficult path that we have embarked upon publicly. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Ms. Menga, we stopped the evidence on page 1249 before the adjournment, and I asked you, in response to your request for the respondent to write you an introduction on gender-based violence, he forwarded you a picture of a woman that is depicted on this picture, a half-naked woman. How did that make you feel?
Ngaphambi kokuba ke sibe siyanqumama bendise phezu kombuzo bendikubuza wona mayelana nomfanekiso ovelayo kwiphepha 1249 emveni kokuba wena uye wacela urespondent into kokuba akubhalele kwi assignment ubuza uyenza yesikolo ngokumcimbi ke we GBV. Ndifuna ukwazi kuba njengoba sibona apha lo mfanekiso kukhona apha umuntu obhinqileyo akanxibanga ke ngokupheleleyo. Lo mfanekiso ukwenze waziva njani?
Ndizive ndinganxibanga.
I felt naked.
Nomoya wami uqazukile.
And my spirit was torn, or rather, for lack of a better word, Chair, my emotions were torn.
And you replied to that picture with a sticker, and it's not on this page. It does not show here, but it does show on your initial complaint in volume 1, page 50. That is the picture of the man hanging himself with the toilet paper.
Apha ke asinayo impendulo yakho ayibonakali kodwa ke ngokwalapha ku volume 1 iphepha ngu50 kulapho sibona khona ba uphendule njani kulomfanekiso walomuntu obhinqileyo unganxibanga ngokupheleleyo kubonakala ba ngumfanekiso wendoda ezixhomayo isebenzisa ke iphepha langasese okanye toilet paper ngolwasemzini.
Sorry, I didn't hear the question, Advocate Skippers.
She responded to the picture. Sorry. She responded to the picture that he sent her with a sticker that is depicted in her initial complaint, volume 1, page 50. And that is the man hanging himself with the toilet paper, is that correct?
Indoda ke le bonakalayo apha kule mpendulo yakho sistika esibonakala sindoda ezixhomayo nge toilet paper kunjalo?
Ewe kunjalo.
Yes, that's correct.
What did you want to convey to the respondent by sending him this sticker?
Ubufuna ugqithisa ntoni kuye uJP lona ngokumthumela olwahlobo lomfanekiso?
Bendifuna ukumxelela uba
I wanted to tell him that
indifaka phantsi koxinzelelo le picture ayithumeleyo okanye ezi messages azithumelayo.
I wanted to tell him that this picture or these messages that he had sent are putting me under a lot of stress.
There was no further communication that evening on the 7th of July. Then on the 8th of July, there was a picture. Let's go to page 1250. There was a picture forwarded to you by the respondent at 19 minutes past 9 that morning. Can you recall what that picture was about?
Kuphepha 1250 ngosuku olandelayo ke ngoku ngomhla wesibhozo kuJuly ku2021 uJP uye wathumela umfanekiso kuwe kwakhona ixesha biyimizuzu nje eli19 emveni kwensimbi yesithoba sakhumbula ba yayingumfanekiso njani lo?
Ewe ndiyamkhumbula.
Yes, I recall.
What was it about?
Yayingantoni le picture?
Yayila assignment ye English ye GBV.
That was the assignment, the English assignment on the GBV topic.
And then you just thanked him, and that was the conversation for that day. So there was nothing related to the claim specifically on that day. Is that correct?
Wabulela ke ngoko njengobe kuthumelele akuzange kuphinde kube khona ke ncoko ngalamini yaphela nje apho kunjalo?
Kunjalo.
That is correct.
Then on 9 July 2021, maybe we can turn to page 1251. The respondent again started a conversation with you at 4 minutes to 7 in the morning, and he replied to an earlier message of you. Can we just get again the translation of her message and then the reply by the respondent?
On page 1251, message on the 9th of July 2021, Ndinosizi lwakho, I feel sorry for you. And then the response, which is highlighted at 6:56, Kuba with a question mark, because
So now he referred you back to a conversation a few days earlier, then again asking you because, but I see you did not reply to him. Is that correct?
ndiyabona uba ke awuzange uyiphendule kwaleya lo mbuzo ekubuza uba kuba uthulekile yazi iintsuku zaqengqeleka kunjalo.
Kunjalo.
Yes, that's correct.
Then 3 days later again, on 12 July 2021, the respondent again started the conversation by replying to a status of yours that you uploaded on WhatsApp. Is that correct?
Zihambile iintsuku ke ngoku safika kumhla we-12 kuJulayi ku-2021. Siyabona kwakhona ngentsimbi yesibhozo ngokuhlwa uye yena waphendula kwi-status sakho apho sibhalwe we met kwezinye izindlu. Translation of that would be we met in other houses.
Ewe, ndiyayibona.
Yes, I see the message.
That was at 8 o'clock in the evening. Can you recall what your status was about?
Kwakungentsimbi yesibhozo ngokuhlwa. Usakhumbula uba i-status esi sakho sasingantoni?
Ewe, ndiyasikhumbula.
Yes, I recall.
What was it about?
Sasingantoni?
Yayi-compliment eyi-text message endandiyifumene komnye wo-advocate ongusisi kula division.
Okay. It was a compliment text message that I had received from one of the female advocates in the division.
And the response by the respondent to your compliment that you uploaded to your status was to laugh at it. Haha.
Impendulo yakhe ke kulento yesi status sakho wasuka yena wahleka.
Ewe, wasuke wahleka.
Yes, he just laughed.
Then you replied with a sticker that's not shown here. Is it able for you to recall what that sticker was about?
Waphendula ke wena ngesinye istika qha sisiboni apha. Yasikhumbula uba sasisithini istika esi?
Ndisikhumbula, asibonakala.
No, I don't recall. It's not visible.
And he also replied with a sticker with a man sitting with his hands crossed, and then you replied at 8:02, and we need the translation first, Miss Interpreter.
On 2002, same page of 1251, ayin support structure yamli ayondoda so chill. I'm trying to get to ayin, just give me a moment, please. No, this is my support structure. It's not a man, so chill.
Why did you say that?
Kutheni waye wabhala ngolu hlobo?
Uthumele istika yena sendoda ekhedamileyo ebonakala inawo noba nomsindwana.
He sent a sticker of a man who seemed sad with a little bit of being angry in between with his hands folded.
Ndaphendula kanjalo ke kuba besendingayazi uba mandiphendule ndithini.
And I then responded in that manner because now I did not know what to say further.
Were you referring to that compliment that you received?
Uthetha ngoku kunconywa wena ubuye wakufumana.
Ewe.
Yes.
And then if we, page 1252, He replied to that again by laughing at 20:03 and also with another word that we need the translation for, please.
1252 at 2003, just beneath the laughing message, and Khalazi, I'm not complaining.
Then the complainant respondent again, can we get the translation of that one at 20:03 from the complainant in the green box?
At 2003 on the green box, it's the 4 laughing emojis, squarely, jealousy.
Why did you say that?
Utheni uye wathetha ngohlobo apha, wakhankanya isikhwele.
Besendingazazi uba mandiphendule ndithini. Bendithetha into kuba nezawufuna impendulo yayo. So ndaphendula ngolwa hlobo ke.
I responded in this fashion because now I did not know what to say further, and I also just wanted to give an answer to what he would have needed. He would have needed an answer.
Then can we get the translation of the respondent's response at 20:03?
At 2003 on page 1252, tu kanti, not at all though.
So he said not at all, though, followed it up with relax and 3 emojis and then another word that we need the translation for, please.
On 2004, same page of 1252, uwedwa, it's a question, are you alone?
So at 8 o'clock in the evening, he asked you if you are alone, and you replied to that at 8:04 that evening saying nope. And he said, okay.
Ngokuhlwa njalo ke kancinci nje emveni kwentsimbi yesibhozo uyakubuza uba uwedwa na, wena wathi hayi.
Ewe kunjalo.
Yes, that's correct.
How did you feel about him asking you if you are alone?
Uzive njani wena emveni koba ekubuzile into okubana uwedwa?
Ndizive uba ndilixhoba lakhe ngoba andikho phakathi kwabantu.
I felt like I am his victim because I'm not amongst people.
Then 3 days later again, there was a message at 13:34 from the respondent that was deleted. But you can correct me, is that the one that you replied to just below that at 13:41?
Nge 15 kaJuly siyabona okokuba ukhona umyalezo ye wacinywa ngo 13:34. Uyawundilungisa kuba ndiyaphazama, ingaba lo myalezo ucinyiweyo ngulo myalezo wena oye wawuphendula apha ngezantsi?
Nguwo.
Yes, that is the message.
Can you recall what that video was about?
Usakhumbula uba le video yayingantoni?
Andisakhumbula.
No, I don't recall.
But your response to that video was 4 laughing emojis and drooling.
Kodwa impendulo yakho kule video ngaba nodolazana bakikithekayo bahlekayo watagqiba walandilisa ngela gama lithi drooling.
Yes, ewe kunjalo.
Yes, that's correct.
But you can't recall what the context of that conversation was about, the video.
Kodwa ke awusakhumbula uba kahle kahle yayingantoni yona le video.
hayi andikhumbuli.
No, I don't recall.
Please then turn to page 1253, because the messages below that are depicted here as well. Can we get the translation of the respondent's response at 1342 on the top of the page?
On page 1253, message 1342, siyazama wethu qha zikhona izinto ezisibhidayo. We are trying, but there are things that are confusing us.
And he followed that up with 2 monkeys closing their eyes, and then there's a response from you at 1343 to that message of the respondent. Can we get the translation of that first, please?
Time of the message, green box 1343. Beauty of the nature ayinyamezeleki. Beauty of the nature is unbearable.
Are you now talking here about nature itself, or is there anything else that this conversation was about?
Ingaba apha uthetha ngendalo ngokwenene okanye ikhona enye into engapha kwale oyithethayo?
Kuyacaca uba ndiphendula ngala video le bendisithi andiyikhumbuli uba ibinantoni.
It is clear that I am responding based on the video initially that I said I could not recall exactly what it was about.
All right, then he replied again, the respondent replied with laugh out loud and 3 messages that was deleted. And then again he commented on your statement, status, sorry, at 18 minutes past 5 that afternoon. And I don't know if there's any translations to what is typed there. Misinterpreted.
That's all there is.
The
It's just an
clicking-
expression of,
clicking the tongue.
yes.
And the inscription on the status, is there any translation to that?
No, that can't even be a word itself.
It's
All right.
Or we can then say, it's also another click kind of, because people don't really read it, but they will go,
Okay. And then he requested you to share that status to him. Is that correct?
wacela ke yento yoba umphe naye le nto ilapha kwesi status.
ewe kunjalo.
Yes, that's correct.
Then on page 1254, I see that you did forward 4 pictures to him. Is that now the status that you were now sending to him?
Apha ke ngoku ku-1254 siyabona uba umthumelele wade yayinto ezimifanekiso mine uthumelela yena.
Ewe kunjalo.
Yes, that's correct.
And then again, at 4 minutes to 9 that evening, the respondent again responded to a status that you uploaded. Is that now another status that you uploaded?
Waphinda kwakhona ngemizuzu nje mine phambi kwentsimbi yesithoba ebusuku waphinda yena wahlomla apha kwesi status ubusifakile. Ubufake istatus kwakhona?
Ewe uhlomla kuso.
Yes, he was responding on the status.
Can we get the translation of the word typed there by the respondent?
It's yay. There's no,
An exclamation of
it's just
yay.
an exclamation of yay.
Can you recall what that status was about?
Usakhumbula uba esi status sasingantoni?
Ndisikhumbuli sona.
No, I don't recall it.
Then on 18 July 2021, again at 24 minutes past 7 in the evening, you uploaded a status on your WhatsApp with the caption, whatever that means, and the respondent replied again to your status. Now, I don't know if there's a translation for what is typed there.
Once more on page 1254, the response on status of 1924. It's just another click.
Thank you. Maybe we can turn to page 1255. That message is again the first message on that page. And you replied with laughing emojis, and again there was a message from the respondent that was deleted.
Kwakhona ke siyabona apha ntoba uye wayiphendula laa nto ebeyiphendule kwi-status sakho ngoonodolazana abakikithekayo abahlekayo. Wacima ke ngokuyena kwakhona umyalezo.
Ewe kunjalo.
Yes, that's correct.
And you replied to that message with 7 ladies running away with a monkey closing its eyes.
Waze waphendula ke wena ngaba sisi babalekayo apha bade basixhenxe nonkawana naye wamfaka uvale amehlo
Ewe.
ngezandla zakhe.
Ewe ndiyayibona.
Yes, I see.
Can you recall what that message was about?
Usayikhumbula uba lo myalezo ucinyiweyo wawungantoni?
Into endiyikhumbulayo iba yayinto i-message e-sexual.
What I can recall is this message was a sexual message.
And what is the translation of the next reply from the complainant?
925 green box. Uxolo. I'm sorry, with a laughing emoji.
Can you recall why you said sorry?
Usakhumbula uba kwakutheni uzuxolisa?
Ndandixolisela uba ndingamzumnika le mpendulo yena ngabe uyayifuna. Okwesibini ndisebenzisa emojis balekayo.
I was apologizing because I was not prepared to give him the answer that he wants. And in addition to that, I made use of those emojis, those ladies that are running away.
Maybe we must get the translations of all these messages, and then we can maybe try to see if you can recall what this conversation was about. Can we get the translation of the message from the respondent at 1926?
The message,
Just a minute.
Yeah, Chair, it's very difficult to follow because she's jumped to something else than each message. I just think it's a very critical moment. I'm pleading to the evidence leader to just take us through each one, as she was doing.
Advocate Skippers.
Chair, I am going to go through all of them, each one, but I want to get the translations of those messages first, because then it will be easier to go through them all.
You only want the translations
Yes.
before you
Pose
go
the
back
questions.
and
Yes.
ask about it.
Yes.
Okay. Yes,
Okay.
proceed.
Thank you. Can we get the translation of the message at 1926 from the respondent?
1926 from the respondent on page 1255. Buke wedwa. Watch it alone.
And the reply by the complainant at 1926?
The response of 1926 in green, Semandi, it's nice.
And then the next message from the respondent at 1927?
Deep nto, it's a question. Deep thing,
And then at 1927, there was a response by the complainant. Can we get the translation of that, please?
Uyicime ndingekagqibi uyacaca uphela esithubeni. You deleted it before I could finish. It is clear you go halfway.
It is clear that you?
You go halfway.
And this is?
The response in a green box, Chair, on 1927, page 1255.
All right. So now you received this message that was deleted and you replied with the running emojis and said, I'm sorry. Then there was a message that was deleted and just below it the respondent said, watch it alone. So was one of those messages a video that was forwarded to you? Or was it a picture?
Kukho lo myalezo ye wacinywa apha emveni koba uphendule ngabasisi babalekayo nalo uhlekayo uxolisa kwacinywa umyalezo wathumela lento ethi buke wedwa ibiyivideo lento okanye ibilifoto
Picture a collage okanye ingqokelela ye pictures.
Sorry, I'm going to ask this question myself. Below the message about I'm sorry, there's a deleted message. Do you recall what that message was?
ezantsi kwale myalezo wakho uxolisayo kuwo kukhona umyalezo ocinyiweyo uyawukhumbula lo wawucinyiweyo uba umbungantoni umyalezo
Wesihlalo.
yes Chair.
Yes, Advocate Pretorius, you can proceed.
What was that message about?
ubungantoni ke lo myalezo lo ucinyiweyo
Njengoba bendisitsho collage ezi pictures zendlela okanye sexual positions or sex positions. Different sex positions, sorry.
It was a collage or collection of different sexual positions in sex.
Why did you reply to that to say it's nice?
Kutheni lento ye waphendula kulonto wathi semandi
Ndiphendule ngolo hlobo kuba bendingayazi uba mandiphendule ndithini. Ndibone impendulo efanelekileyo leyo emanelisayo yena.
I responded in that fashion because I did not know how to respond, and I saw that response fitting, which would be a response that will be pleasing him.
And then the respondent followed your message up by saying deep thing, and there's a question mark, so it must be a question. And immediately after that, you'd love it with a question mark.
Walandelisa yena ngalonto ebuzayo apha uba deep nto waphinda waqhubeka wabuza ba ungayithanda.
Kunjalo.
Yes, that's correct.
Did you understand this messages from him? And what did you understand?
Le miyalezo le esigqiba kuyicaphula ngoku ubuyiqonda ukuba ubuyiqonda ubuqonda ntoni ngayo.
Bendiyiqonda.
Yes, I understood it.
Into bendiyiqonda ngayo yinto uba funeka ngoku ndimxelele istyle sex endisithandayo.
What I understood by it was that now I have to tell him what type of sex style I like.
And you responded to that to say you deleted it before I could finish. It is clear that you go halfway.
Waphendula ke wena kule nto wathi uyicime ndingekagqibi uyacaca uba uphele esithubeni.
Ewe ndiphendule kanjalo.
Yes, I responded in that manner. Naba sisi bathwele izandla entloko.
Why did you respond in that way?
Kutheni le nto uye waphendula ngolo hlobo?
Ndiphendule ngolaa hlobo kuba yena ufuna ndiphendule into eyanelisa yena and ndabe ndizazi mna uba I don't mean la message.
I responded in this manner because I knew that he wants me to respond in a manner that pleases him, whereas I knew that whatever I wrote, I did not mean it.
And then the respondent replied again with the laugh out loud abbreviation, as well as a message at 1928 that was deleted.
Waphinda ke ngoku naye wabuya ngamafutshane laa nto yokwakuhleka u-LOL ngo-1927 ngo-1928 ixesha wanomyaleza ucimileyo.
Ewe ndiyabona.
Yes, I see.
Can you recall what was deleted or can't you?
Usakhumbula uba yintoni le icinyiwe apha okanye awusayikhumbuli?
Andikhumbula.
No, I can't recall.
Thank you. Can we turn then to page 1256? Then the respondent referred you back again to the question that he asked you. You'd love it with a ear that's listening.
Wabuya kwakhona yena ngo-1928 ixesha ekubuza uba ungayithanda wafaka laa ndlebe isabelayo.
Ewe wandibuza njalo.
Yes, he asked me that.
Can we get a translation of the complainant's response at 1928?
1928 on page 1256, green box. Mandiqale ndiyigqibe zakuphendula. Let me first finish it. I will respond.
What were you referring to that you had to finish?
Yintoni le ubuthetha ngayo apho sithi ufuna uqala uyigqibe qala?
Ndiqinisekile uba inoba yila message icinyiwe ipha ngentle.
I am certain that it is probably the message that is deleted above.
And then the respondent replied again with haha, meaning he laughed. And then there's another message at 1929 that we need the translation for, please.
1929 on page 1256. You, which is an exclamation. Mandicime, let me delete.
All right, and you then replied to that again. Can we get a translation to that reply from the complainant as well again?
On 1929, green box, same page 1256. Oh, ewe, with the hands in the air. That's a yes. Umoya oyingcwele mawungene. The Holy Spirit should enter.
What did you mean by this message?
Buthetha ukuthini ke ngale impendulo kanye ngalo myalezo.
uye wa-aware uba makacime yena wazilungisa.
He became aware in that he realized that he had to correct himself and delete.
Ndakhetha kuphendula ngolaa hlobo kuba ndisithi umoya oyingcwele mawungene.
I then chose to respond in that manner to say that let the Holy Spirit enter or intervene.
Then there was another message from the respondent at 1929 that was deleted. And
Kwakhona umyalezo ocinyiweyo ngo-1929.
Ewe kunjalo.
Yes, that's correct.
And you reply to that one. Can we get the response to that message?
The response on 1930 time, page 1256. Hayi ke andithi usencokweni andinakubhala rhabaxa. Well then, isn't it that you are in conversation? I can therefore not write rough.
Can you recall what that message was that was deleted? If you
Usayikhumbula
look at your response.
usakhumbula lo myalezo wacinywayo lo bangele uba mawuphendule ngolu hlobo?
Andimkhumbuli.
No, I don't recall.
And what did you mean by your response?
Buthetha ntoni ke ngokuphendula kwakho?
Kuba sikuWhatsApp sithetha.
This is because we were on WhatsApp having a chat.
Bendingenawubhala into mhlawumbe emthukayo.
I would not have been able to write something that could be insulting.
Bendingenaso isibindi saloo nto.
I did not have the courage to do so
Ngoba behleli kakade esengumphathi wam.
because he was, in any event, still my boss,
Ndingamazi uba uzondenza ntoni xa sidibene.
and I would not know as to what he would do to me once we come across each other.
Then another message from the respondent was deleted, sent and deleted, and then you responded again at 1930. Can we get that translation of that response?
The response, green box, 1930, time 1256, ngako konke, by all means.
Can you recall what that message was that was deleted if you look at your reply by all means?
Usakhumbula uba ke lo myalezo wawungantoni lo ocinyiweyo ukuze ke uphelele uphendule usithi ngako konke?
Andisamkhumbula uba wayebhale ntoni.
I don't recall what he wrote.
Then again at 1931, there was a message from the respondent. Can we get that translation, please?
1931 on page 1256, ingathi ufuna kubethwe phezulu wena. It seems like you want to be superficial. Sorry, no. My mistake. It seems like you want to just do the top.
And he followed it with the next message at 1931. The respondent replied with half insertion.
Waphendula yena ngo-1931 ixesha esithi ethetha ngokufakwa nje iphele esithubeni.
Ewe waphendula kanjalo.
Yes, he responded in this fashion.
What was this conversation about?
Le ncoko ke yona ibingantoni?
It was a sexual conversation. Sexual conversation.
It was a sexual conversation.
And then on those messages on 1257, you replied to his message where he said, it seems like you want to do just the top. You replied with the next message, foreplay kindles.
Uphendulile ke kula myalezo wakhe ebesithi ingathi ufuna kubethwe phezulu wena. Wathi wena foreplay kindles. Lanto kuba makuqale kudlala iswane.
Ewe niphendule kanjalo.
Yes, I responded in that way.
Explain to us why did you respond in this way? And what did you
Khawusicacisele.
mean?
Utheni lento uye waphendula ngola hlobo ibe ithethe ukuthini?
Ndiphendule ngolo hlobo kuba ebefuna iphume kum uba ndithanda SCP style and before senze kwenziwe okanye kwenzeke eso style kufuneka kwenzeke ntoni.
I responded in this manner because he wanted this to come from me in telling as to before anything happens, which style do I like, and before we do the style, what must first take place or what must happen first.
And then he replied to you with the 5 monkeys with the eyes closed with their hands, and another one at 1932. Can we get the translation again of that word, please?
Waphendula ke ngonkawana naye abagqume ubuso babo at 1932. The translation on page 1257, ewe, yes.
So on your message of foreplay kindles, he sent you the monkeys and yes, as well as the following message at 1932, I mean eventually.
Ukuthumelele ke la miyalezo njengoba ephendule ngonkawana apha abagquma ubuso no ewe waze watsho ke naye ke ngokenye imiyalezo uthi ndithetha ukuthi ke ekugqibeleni.
Ewe kunjalo.
Yes, that's correct.
Then you replied to the respondent to his previous message where he asked you half insertion, and you replied at 1932. Can we get the translation of that reply, please?
On 1257 page, response on 1932 green box. Before ihlathi liche kuqala kancinci. It seems like you want to be superficial.
You have lost me.
I was about to explain what this line is, Chair, with your permission. This is figurative speech. If I were to directly translate it, before ihlathi liche kuqala kancinci, before the bush burns, it starts small.
Can you explain to us what you meant with this reply of yours, because we don't understand it?
Khawusicacisele ke njengoba uye watsokotha wacaphula wathi phambi kokuba liche ihlathi eli kuqala kancinci uthetha ukuthini intoni luyithethayo ngale ntetha.
Le message ihambisana naleya kuba siyaqaphela amaxesha yafana ku1932 nansi yapha ngentla leya bendithetha ngayo ndiphendula ndisithi kuqale kudlaliswane, which is foreplay candles.
This message, if we can have a look, it goes hand in hand with the previous message on the same page of 1257, 1932 time, where I mentioned foreplay candles. It goes hand in hand with that message.
Bendinabisa ke okanye bendiphinda la ntetha ipha kwelaa xesha lokuqala.
I was elaborating or repeating the same message that I had written first of foreplay candles.
That may be so, but the question is, what did you mean by that?
Kunganjalo kodwa umbuzo uthi buthetha ukuthini ngale ithi phambi kokuba ihlathi litshe kuqala kancinci.
Bendithetha ukuthi kuqale kudlaliswane.
I meant that we first do foreplay, Chair.
I want to understand you. You say you meant we first do foreplay.
Ndifuna ukuqonda kakuhle uba uthi ubusithi kuqala kudlaliswane kuqala.
Ewe,
Yes,
bendisitsho.
that's what I was saying.
Did you want foreplay?
Ubufuna wena uba nikhaniqale nidlalisane kuqala?
Bendingayifuni.
No, I didn't want.
But that's what we want to know. You say you mean that we must first do foreplay, but now you tell us that you didn't want it. So what did you want to say when you sent this message?
Yintoni bufuna ukuyitsho ngethuba uthumela lo myalezo ngoba xa sibuza ngokuba bufuna nawe na uba kuqale kudlaliswane kuqala uthi hayi. Ufuna uqonda ke ngoku into yoba xa usithi hayi kanti ngalo myalezo eyona nto bufuna ukuyitsho yintoni, bufuna ntoni?
Bendifuna ukumnabisela okanye umcacisela kabanzi ngaleya ibithe foreplay candles. Bendingafuni mna uba ne foreplay naye.
I wanted to explain or elaborate the message of foreplay candles, and I did not, me myself, want to have a foreplay with him.
Then why did you send this to him?
Kwathini uzumthumelele ke lento?
Ndimthumelele kuba bekumele ndimphendulile and ndingazazi uba ndizawuphendula ndithini ngoba ungulo mntu ungamameliyo xa ndisithi hayi.
I sent this because I did not know what to say, and he is someone that just does not listen when I say no. So I didn't know what else to say.
Then you replied to his message earlier where he said, I mean eventually. You said, I understand at 1932.
Waphendula wena kulaa myalezo wakhe ebesithi bendithetha ukuthi ekugqibeleni wathi wena ndiyaqonda.
Ewe, ndiphendule kanjalo.
Yes, I responded in that way.
And the respondent replied to you by saying, at 1932, slowly, with a question mark.
Wabuya yena ebuyela kuwe ngo-1932 ngombuzo ukuba kancinane okanye ngokucotha.
Kunjalo.
That's correct.
And you replied, at 1932, you said, please.
Wabuya ke wena sosithi please.
Kunjalo.
That's correct.
What did you mean by that?
Buthetha ukuthini ke ngale ndawo?
Bendisithi ndincede, uplease ngesixhosa ngundincede.
I was saying please as in a form of please. Assist in isiXhosa it's ndincede, which means please.
What did you mean by that?
Buthetha ukuthini? Xa usithi ndincede bufuna ukuthini busithini?
bendingafuni uengage kule conversation yakhe.
I did not want to engage in his conversation.
Please turn to page 1258. I see the police message is the first one on that page. Then there was another message from the respondent that was deleted, but below that there's a reply from you. To what message did you reply to here?
Kukhona ke apha kuphepha 1258 emveni koba sibonile ba uye waphendula ngelithi ndincede. Kwakhona umyalezo ngezantsi kwalowo ocinyiweyo. Siyabona ba uye waphendula wena. Uphendula ntoni ba?
Ewe ndiye ndiphendula laa nto ayicimileyo kodwa ndikwazile uphendula phezu kwayo.
Yes, I replied exactly the message that he deleted because I managed to save it.
And that message from the JP was, and long term is okay for you? Question mark.
Wabe lo myalezo lowo osithetha ngawo lo ukwazileyo wena ukugcina uvulela kuye uJP esithi ingaba ulong term uright for wena.
Ewe kunjalo.
Yes, that's correct.
What did you understand by that message?
Into oyiqondileyo wena ngale myalezo walo long term?
Njengokuba le ngoku bese sexual conversation.
As now the conversation was that one of sexual act.
Ndiye ndaqonda uba undibuza ngoku ngesize yepenis right for him na.
I then now realized that he is asking in particular about the size of a penis that is right for me
Okanye ubude bayo.
or its length.
And you replied to that message to say, of course.
Waphendula ke wena wathi of course okanye ngokuqinisekileyo.
Kunjalo.
That is correct.
I know it may sound repetitive, but unfortunately you will have to explain to us here as well, why did you reply in that way and what did you mean?
Ndiyayiqonda kuba izawuvakala ngathi into esoloko kufuneka iphindaphindeka iphindaphindwa kodwa ndiyafuna ukwazi ukuba into nebangela uba mawuphendule ngola hlobo.
Besendikiwe bendimphoxa.
I was already very much fed up and I was being sarcastic.
And after you responded that way, the respondent replied at 1933 with 3 emojis of the face sticking his tongue out and his eyes closed. Is that correct?
Waphendula ke yena emveni kwala mpendulo yakho ngo1933 ngaba nodolazana abaveza amalwimi ngaphandle. Kunjalo?
Ewe kunjalo.
Yes, that's correct.
Can we get the translation of the next message from the complainant at 1934?
1934 on page 1258. Kandi kuxelele, I am currently off sick. Kwathi kanti ndine stress ndawa. I did not inform you. I am currently off sick. It was discovered that I am stressed. I fell. I did not inform you. I am currently off sick. It came about that I am stressed. and I fell.
Were you off sick at that stage?
Wawungaphilanga ngela xesha?
Ewe, ndandingekho emsebenzini, ndandingaphilanga.
Yes, I was not at work. I was off sick.
And he replied to that message of yours to say, yo. And then there's another message at 1934, which we need the translation to, please.
Page 1258, on a response of 1934. Kwenzakalani? It's a question mark. What is happening?
So after he asked you what is happening, he then also asked, because there's a question mark, studies. And then you replied to what is happening to say your CM's insults found a home. What did you mean by that?
Waphendula ke wena kulambuzo wakhe bekubuza wona into kokuba kwenzakalani. Wathi wena izithuko zika court manager zifumene ikhaya.
Ewe, ndaphendula kanjalo.
Buthetha ukuthini? Buphendula ngolhlobo. Yes, I responded in that manner.
Bendifuna ayazi, bendiphendula ngolo hlobo bendifuna ayazi ba izinto ezazithethwa ngu-court managers intenze ntoni.
I wanted him to know about the things that the court manager had said to me, did to me.
And he replied at 1937, you must laugh some of the troubles away. You should emulate your JP, and you know what I mean.
Waphendula ke esitsho into kokuba ezinye ingxaki nje ufuneka uvela usuke uhleke phose ngasemva walandulisa ke ngeloku ukuthi into ba uyayazi bandithetha ukuthini.
Ewe, waphendula kanjalo.
Yes, that's how he responded.
He said here that you know what I mean. Did you know what he meant?
Ude athi uyayazi bandithetha ukuthini. Ubuyazile ngokwenene wena ba uthetha ukuthini?
Ewe, bendiyazile.
Yes, I knew.
What did he mean?
Ebethetha ukuthini?
Ebethetha uba njengoba yena engumphathi wala division.
He meant that as he is the leader of that division, or the boss of that division,
Ebeba khona amagingxigingxi mna as a junior official engangeniyo kuwo phakathi kwakhe nezinye judge.
there would be some challenges or troubles that will be between him and other judges that I, as a junior, I would not be involved in.
Ngokwendlela ke yena ebezihandlisha ngayo ezo zinto okanye mhlawumbi lo treatment ebeyifumana okanye le yena treatment ebeyenza kwezinye judge ukuze zireact ngolu hlobo zireact ngalo.
This is now in the way he would handle whatever form of treatment he would receive and how he would retaliate towards other judges, because the retaliation in return, he will have his own way of handling it.
Okay, so it didn't have anything to do with you.
Ibingenanto kwenza nawe.
Hayi bingenanto kwenza nam, ibindlela yakhe yokundicomforta.
No, it had nothing to do with me, but it was his way of comforting me.
I don't understand how do we comfort you if it's about troubles between him and other judges?
Ebeza kuthuthuzela njani xa ngaba kuthiwa bekuba yingxushungxushu phakathi kwakhe nabanye ojaji ungena njani wena ukuthweni uthuthuzela?
Let me try to assist you. I think what the witness is saying is that, oh, you're not the only one with challenges. I also, as the Judge President, do have some challenges from time to time as a leader. So if you are a leader, there will be some challenges, and you learn to live with them and deal with them. I think that's what she's saying.
Thank you, Chair. Then we will move on to 1259. You then replied to his message where he said you must laugh some of your troubles off. You replied with the emoji with the face with the one eye closed. And then he replied to you again, never allow stuff that will take away your oomph to find a home in you.
Siyabona ke phaya kuba kwakhuthaze bekuthethile ngaphambilini ekuthuthuzela uphendule wena ngalanodolazana utyobo simehlo walandelisa ke naye kwakhona sithi ungabavumeli abasebenzi bavele bathatha lanto ekuwe bayithathe bafuna ukuyifumanela ikhaya kwalapha kuwe.
Kunjalo.
That is correct.
Then you replied to that at 1938 to say, I will try to heal, and followed by the following, thank you so much.
Waphendula ke wena ngo-1938 usithi ndawuzama ke ukuphola okanye ukuphila.
Kunjalo.
That is correct.
How did you feel about this part of this conversation where he said that you never should allow stuff to take away your oomph? How did you feel about this part of the conversation?
Kule ndawo ingakumbi apha cebisa khona into yoba ungabovumela abantu bathathe nje kwanto bafake izinto zabo bayenze ikhaya kuwe ikwenze wava njani le ndawo?
Beniphatheke kakubi.
I was upset, or I was not happy.
Why not?
Yintoni ebangela uba uphatheke kakubi?
Upset is an extreme word, Chair. If I may use the word discomfort, beniphatheke kakubi.
Wow.
Sorry, for my own good. Which message exactly are we talking about? Is the message never allow stuff that will take away your oomph to find a home in you? Are we talking specifically about this message?
No, I'm talking about this conversation that they had about the court manager having insulted her and she's having stress, and now I don't want to lead her to say that he's comforting her, but it looks like he's comforting her. How did she feel about the fact that he's now comforting her at that stage? This part, the whole conversation about the court manager.
Mrs. Mengo,
Yeah.
we dealt with a few messages,
Yes.
exchanges, and you described them at one time as him trying to comfort you. And then it was a series of messages that followed. Up to which message do you regard as still comforting? Up to which one?
Njengoba sikhe sanemiyalezo emininzi esikhe sathetha ngayo kanye imbalelwane ezininzi sithethe ngazo apha. Sihambe sifike kophi umyalezo othi xa ujonga uve uba njengomyalezo ngumyalezo okuthuthuzelayo.
Phezulu kweliphepha lika 1259, Chair. 1259.
On page 1259.
Ukukhamfatha kwakhe kuphela pha kula message okanye ukuva ingathi uyandikhamfatha okanye nam ndiyakhamfatheka kuphela kula message.
The comforting part through his message ends with that message, or the way that makes me feel like he is comforting me, which makes me feel like I'm being comforted, it ends with that message on page 1259,
Which one?
AP.
The time is 1937, Chair. It's the top or the first message on page 1259.
All right. The message, which I believe is from the JP, the message, never allow stuff that will take away your oomph to find a home in you. That one, tell me whether that one still falls under the comforting ones or not. That is the clarity I wanted.
Ndifuna ukucacelwa ke kule ndawo le ilandele leya iseqaleni ingaba nayo uzayifaka phansi kwemiyalezo ekuthuthuzelayo okanye ayingeni.
Bendingazuyifaka, Chair.
I would not have included it with messages that are comforting, Chair.
Okay. I think Advocate Skippers, I now know where, from which one she says.
Thank you.
This or that. You can go on
Thank
then
you.
asking questions.
Then the respondent replied to you with a message at 1940. I must come and give you a boost, followed by an emoji of a syringe. And it looked like it has blood in it, but it's followed by a syringe.
Walandelisa ke yena ngomyalezo kwakhona into kokuba kuzawufuneka ndizokunika nje boost. Siyayibona apho ba inomfanekiso wesirinji esingathi sinenalithi nechaphaza ligazi.
Ewe, ndiyayibona.
Yes, I see it.
What did you take from that message?
Kulo
How did you
umye-
understand it?
kulona umyalezo uqonde ntoni okanye uthathe ntoni kuwo?
Ndithathe into ba ufuna ndiphile.
I took it as he wants me to heal.
To heal.
To heal.
And he then also replied to your message where you said, thank you so much. He said, most welcome.
Waphendula ke naye kumyalezo wakho apho wena ububulela wathi wamkelekile.
Ewe, kunjalo.
Yes, that's correct.
Please turn to page 1260. You replied to a message from the JP where you said, I must come and give you a boost, the one that we dealt with now. You said, when strong to stand on my feet.
Uphendula ke ngoku wena kwakhona kula myalezo wakhe bethe kuzafuneka ndizokunika nje boost wathi wena xa uphendula xa sendomelele ndikwazi ukuzimela ngenyawo zam.
Kunjalo, ndiphendule ngolo hlobo.
That is correct. That's how I responded.
And he replied to say, is it that bad? At
What
1940.
Wade wabuza yena ngo-1940 xesha into yoba ingaba imbi kangako.
Ewe, kunjalo.
Yes, that's correct.
And you said the coming week will be the second week. It was really bad. I'm getting there slowly. And he said, yo.
Wathi wena kule veki izayo izaba yiveki yesibini ibimbi kakhulu kodwa ndizawude ndifike kancinane. Wakhuza ke yena.
Kunjalo.
That is correct.
And then the respondent also responded with a message that we need the translation for, please.
The message on 1942, page 1260. Kanene, you are tender. I just need a moment. I need Kanene. Chair, I must inform you that my brain is really shutting. I'm tired. And my voice is also just giving in.
Yes.
Because truly, I'm required, if you are watching, I'm required to do two things. I translate and interpret. That needs a brain and a voice. Now I'm stuck with one word. I mean, kanene. It's not something that one that's Xhosa speaking would not remember instantly, but I'm feeling it.
Mrs. Mengo,
Yes,
what
yes,
does
Chair.
that word mean? How did you understand that word?
I may not have a translation for that word, but kanene is when you are reminding yourself about something.
Okay.
I absolutely agree with her.
Yes.
It has to do with one reminding, oh, I remember you are still tender.
Yes. And then, Mrs. Nkampi, can you turn to the other page?
The translation.
Yes.
Okay. And if I may get assistance,
Chair?
advocate, it starts from.
Can I interrupt for a minute? I'm worried we have a more serious problem than may initially appear. The interpreter is telling us that she's not able to interpret.
I'll handle that.
Thank you, Chair.
Take us to the page.
It's 1327 is the translation.
Okay.
It's what?
1327.
7. On 1327, the translation of the translator says, by the way, you are tender. Yeah.
Do you have difficulty with that?
I don't, in principle, because it goes back to what we spoke of, one reminding themselves, oh, by the way, you are. So I don't have issues with that translation, Chair. It still says the exact same thing that's been said.
Yes. Ms. Mengo, you have a problem with that?
I don't have a problem with that, Chair. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Sikakane, you have a problem with that?
No, Chair, I don't. I think that's what it means.
And thank you, Chair, for the indulgence as well.
Yes. Yes, I can hear that the voice is becoming weaker and weaker. The proposal was to stop at 1 o'clock.
Okay.
Do you think you can survive until 1 o'clock?
We still have 9 more minutes to go.
Okay. And Advocate Skippers, please, when you come to a convenient moment for adjournment, please tell me so that we can adjourn.
I will do so. Thank you, Chair. So you then replied to the comment by the respondent where he said, by the way, you are tender. You replied to him saying, very, with a lot of ease.
Apha ke ku-1942 iphepha ngula 1260 apho atshiloyo na into yokuba kanene usathambile uvumelene naye wena apha.
Ewe kunjalo.
That is correct.
And then there's another response by the respondent that we need the translation to at 1942.
At 1943,
42.
42.
Oh, man.
Oh man, it's also another empathic expression.
Then there was a message by the respondent that was deleted. If you look at the one beneath that, is that the one that you responded to or not?
Kwakhona umyalezo sibonayo apha bawucinyiwe. Kodwa ke ngezantsi koku siyabona uba ukhona umyalezo ye wawuphendula wena. Ukwazile ukuwubamba la myalezo ubucinyiwe pha?
Ewe ndikwazile ukumbamba ndiyayibona la deleted message.
Yes, I was able to keep the deleted message.
Can we get the translation of the message from the JP first and then the reply by the complainant?
The deleted message from the JP was, Uza kuyithini i-rough ride? What are you going to do with a rough ride?
And the response by the complainant?
And then the response, Nzaipasa once I am myself. I'm going to pass it once I am myself.
I'm going to?
Pass it.
Did you understand this messaging, the conversation, and what was it about?
Ubuyiqonda le ncoko uba ingantoni?
Ewe bendiyiqonda.
Yes, I understood it.
What was it about?
Ibingantoni?
Ibi-sexual conversation.
It was a sexual conversation.
Then again, there was a message by the respondent at 1943 that was deleted. And then there was a reply by you, and maybe you should turn to the next page at 1261. It's the first message on that page. Can we get the translation of that, please?
On page 1261, green box, timed 1944. Umane ucimelani na ingathi ungumntu lo wakhe wangena engxakini. The first part, why do you keep on deleting as if you are someone who was once in trouble? Why do you keep on deleting as if you were someone who was once in trouble?
Is that the whole message that you translated now?
Yes.
Okay. I see your voice is now getting weaker and weaker. Maybe we should stop here and then start with this message on Monday, if it pleases the chair.
We adjourn until Monday 9:30. Thank you.
Yeah, it's fine. Just walk it on your product. Just do the recess. Anything